This is the story of how my friend became a successful software developer 2 times faster than me. And it's not because he's some kind of genius and not because I'm some kind of an idiot. I'll tell you exactly why and what you can also learn from it. Before that, who am I? I'm Andre. I've been a software developer for 6 years. I've been programming for 9 years. I've been to a lot of interviews and I helped a lot of people get into this field, so I know what I'm talking about. This is the timeline of me and my friend. As you can see, in high school, at 15 years old, I started studying programming. And I studied for 3 years, while my friend was just, playing games, probably because we hadn't met at that time. So I was learning programming, doing a lot of courses, not really knowing what I was doing. And then at 18 years old, I started working on my own personal project, which was a big startup, was a math learning app. I learned a lot. It was very hard. I worked my ass off, working 13 hours per day. For 1 whole year working on this app, I learned pretty much more than I learned in these 3 years. I learned doing my personal project. And this was also the time that my friend went to university. And he also started studying, and he was studying like myself. He was spending probably at least 6 hours per day just learning programming. So I finished with my personal project and I got hired at 19 years old. And again, I was very passionate and I was working not 13 hours per day, but at least 10 hours per day every day for this job. And this was also the time that I met my friend. And he was very proud of all he learned here. And he did learn a lot, but he was also surprised that I was actually making money. And he begged me to help him. So that's what I did. And here I started teaching him all that I knew from building personal projects and all the knowledge that I got while working on that. So I put him to work on his own personal project that we worked together. He did the front-end part and I did the back-end part. And he, for a whole year, he just worked on that. He learned what I gave him to learn and he worked on what I told him to work on. Fast forward another year, I was still working my ass off 10 hours per day, and he also got hired. He actually got hired at the same company that I did because I recommended him, and that shows how much your connections matter. So again, this year we just worked together, another year we worked together, but here something very interesting happened. Here I invested 7,000 euros in a mentorship program. I know, crazy. But it actually worked. And after half a year of practicing what I learned how to be a successful freelance software developer, and I started making over 10K per month. And from that point on, my life changed completely. But what happened with my friend? Of course, I taught him all that I learned here, but it only took him 3 months because I stayed with him and I taught him all that I learned and I helped him put in practice everything that I knew at that time. So he got to my level really, really quick. This is the timeline, and now I want to show you some interesting stats about it. First of all, remember how I told you that the practice was probably the most informative things I have done. Well, looking at this timeline, you can see that my friend did not really study all that much and he did the same amount of personal projects that I did. And this shows the power of practice. And I don't believe that there is a lot of benefit in learning all the theory. I learned all the theory here. I learned a lot of algorithms. I learned a lot of data structures and all that bullshit. But all that mattered was the practical experience that I did here. And you can see on my friend that it worked the exact same way. And he didn't really need to learn all this theoretical stuff before. So this is the first point. The second point is that he met me very early in his career. You can see that he met me here after he started learning for a bit. But I believe that if he didn't meet me, his trajectory would be pretty much the same as mine, and he would be learning for 3 years, and only that he would have been working on a personal project. So because he met me early in his career, I could guide him and teach him what I already knew. So this shows the importance of a mentor. Find someone who can teach you and who can give you the information for basically free to give you a head start in your career as fast as possible, because this just shows you how fast progress can be made when you have the right guidance. And the third thing I want to leave you with is to not be afraid to invest in mentors. Here I invested 7,000 euros in my first mentor. Actually, no. Actually, this was my second mentor, because somewhere before that I invested another 1,000 euros in a mentor that didn't really give me any benefits. So I thought a lot about if mentors are scams or not, but this one really convinced me that he's the good deal. So I just paid him and said, fuck it, I can just make that money back. Because here I wasn't that successful, but I was still making good money as a programmer. So I invested in that mentorship program and it paid off. So my friend, who was basically a mentee for me, so I was his mentor, I also taught him everything I knew about all this stuff. So here you can see two successful stories about a mentor and one failed one. So I'd say don't be afraid to invest in a mentors. Don't put all your hard-earned money into one, but if you can afford it, you don't have anything to lose besides money. If it doesn't work, you lost your money, you can make it back. But if it worked, you could probably double your investment in no time, because that's what I did, that's what my friend did, and that's what I recommend to you. So I want you to not spend all your time learning and to also network with people. You want to make successful friends that can skyrocket your progress and that can teach you all that they learned from their hard experiences, all the headaches that they got, so you don't have to go through them like they did.